Hi there. Good morning to you. This is Rick Scott. We got 5 minutes past 8 o'clock, and we have a guest in the studio, Tyson Kaup, with us. He's president of the Summer Theater Group of Walla Walla, and he knows everything happening with the Summer Theater Group. Welcome aboard.
Thanks, Rick. I'm really glad to be back.
Well, just as Joe, community member, I'm just really excited about this project because this property has been kind of going fallow for several years, and it's not been getting any TLC. And you've come along with a group of people to try to do something to give it a shot and get it back up and running.
Yeah, we're super excited about it as well. I was witness to how many people it affected through the years of its operation. I mean, tens of thousands of people. I think on average, based on our numbers, the historic numbers, it saw maybe, give or take, around, on average 10,000 people saw shows there every summer. Okay. And hundreds of actors and crew were involved with productions. And it's a real shame that since it hasn't been operating for the last 10 years, a generation of young people and even local community members of all ages haven't had the chance to utilize it to the fullest extent or at all, really, out there.
I'm really curious what kind of reaction you've gotten from theater people in the community. What have they shared with you?
All positive things. We've had no one say anything except how excited they are about it, how they look forward to getting back out there. It's been just an overwhelmingly positive public reaction. We do occasionally get that's a big project, that's a pretty big deal out there. How are you going to raise that money and these things? But that's okay. We're up for the challenge.
Yeah. I have the sense that we probably have the money in the community. Yeah, if you can get them interested. I think the money is there if you just get them interested.
I think so. I think that we're trying to, there's a number of resources to follow through with in terms of raising money from institutions, individuals, and we are doing everything we can to pool the money together. I really believe it will happen. I have no doubt that it will happen because the public support and the nostalgia for this space is so strong. I don't think the space has yet to reach its fullest potential, which we're really excited about, bringing it back not only to what it was before, but even more and even better to serve our community.
Sure. And I'm also intrigued that you have an architect on your crew that is helping you with design work.
Yes, Jonathan Hartung. He's a local person. He's recently moved to Walla Walla in the last few years. His company is SHKS Architects, and he's also the lead architect on the library project. So he's deeply involved with the community. And when he saw the property out there, he was just sort of like, wow, I had no idea this was here. How incredible. Why are we not using this as a resource? So he was able to really get involved, and he's been one of the most active members of our board just in general in supporting the project.
Okay, we've got Tyson Kaup with us. He's president of the Summer Theater Group of Walla Walla, and we'll be back in just a minute. And a very good morning to you. We got Tyson Kaup here in the studio. Tyson is president of the Summer Theater Group of Walla Walla, and he's telling us all about the shot in the arm that the Amphitheater over at Fort Walla Walla is going to receive. I was wondering about the cast for your shows you're going to do. Are these going to be professional equity people or community people, or how are you going to cast them?
They will be local actors for the most part. Every once in a while, there are skills that you need professional actors for. For instance, a few years ago, I directed a production of 9 to 5 at the Powerhouse, and there was this 11 o'clock number that we needed an incredible pop rock singer to do towards the end of the show. So we ended up hiring a person from Seattle to come play that role, and we couldn't find a man to play the sort of sleazy boss role in 9 to 5. So we actually hired a former Whitman student from Seattle to come and play that as well. So every once in a while, we bring in professionals to work alongside amateurs, and we also like to pay the local talent as we can in terms of what we can afford as the budgets for these shows are made. But I like the idea of having sophisticated local performers alongside of experienced professional performers.
Okay. According to the plans that were reported in the Union Bulletin, you plan to put about $20 million into the Amphitheater theater. Is it really going to cost that much to reopen the space?
Well, I believe, you get what you pay for. So we think we could probably get the doors open with no tech, plumbing, electrical, or updated ADA access or anything like that, maybe for $500,000. It's just a huge space. It's a huge project. It's been gone for so long, and we need to bring it up to modern safety standards. And then having said that, our plan is laid out in incremental goals. We have step-by-step process. Maybe $3 million would get us a theater with some minimal lights and sound, but that doesn't really elevate the space to its fullest potential. So, it was never really made for to be a legitimate performing arts space. It was built to host Trails West, and the fact that it functioned at all as a theater for so many years was thanks to the people who were passionate about piecing it together and making it work, and the subsidization by the Walla Walla Community College. So having the full built-out site with year-round event space, private viewing boxes that we can sell to corporate sponsors will give us the best chance of being a really sustainable organization over the next 20 years, which is how long our lease is for.
And I was wondering about some of the mundane aspects of having a theater, about areas to build things, scenery and costume shop and all that kind of stuff that you need to have. Yeah,
there is a really sort of bizarrely constructed costume shop, scenes shop, cast house, the lower level of the amphitheater backstage. I don't know if you've ever been out there. If you would like to come out, I could give you a tour sometime, probably here in the next couple months. But there is a space of that nature, and then one of the plans that we have, which would be a real game changer, is to put a second level on top of that cast house that could be used as rehearsals all year round or performances all year round. That could also be like we could rehearse when it's 100 degrees outside during the day. So if there's another show running on the stage at night, we can overlap those two productions. Okay. Well, we got Tyson Kaup here. He is president of the Summer Theater Group of Walla Walla. We got a bunch more questions to ask him. And good morning to you on Walla Walla Live. Tyson Kaup is here. He is president of the Summer Theater Group of Walla Walla. Tyson, can you tell me a little bit about your history with the amphitheater and why you decided to lead such a huge project? Yeah, so like many others in the community, the experience I had at the amphitheater as a kid really launched my career in theater. I wasn't necessarily the best student, but I was really good at acting and performing, and that gave me so many opportunities that I wouldn't have had otherwise. From the experiences at the amphitheater, I went on to study theater at NYU. I worked in New York theater and film for many years. And this project has brought me back full circle, as we have been saying lately, a term coined by Ida Lee Hudson-Fish at a show we sponsored with her recently. And I take the responsibility to honor the legacy of those like Joanne Rasmussen and Jack Fryman who supported me. I take that very seriously. And during the years it operated, the amphitheater touched, as I said before, literally tens of thousands of people. And it is just a tragedy that an entire generation of kids have grown up in Walla Walla without that experience to enrich their lives. And as a result, the level of participation in local performing arts is at an all-time low. And I'm not okay with that. But this theater is and has been the heart and soul of the performing arts community in the Valley, and it should be returned to that, I think. Yeah. Well, I remember back when I was a kid, if I could have had something like this in my hometown when I was a kid, I would have loved it. We didn't have anything like that when I was growing up. I had to kind of like go out and find stuff. Yeah, it gives you so many things. It gives you something positive to put your time and focus into. It gives you a community. Not everyone is built out to be an academic star or a sports star. Some people are built to let their freak flags fly, and we want to give them a home to do that in and celebrate, all of that people have to offer. All right. Well, thank you very much. We got Tyson Kaup here, and he's telling us all about the rebirth of the amphitheater performing area over next to Fort Walla Walla, and we'll be back in just a minute.
Tyson Kaup is with us. He is the president of the Summer Theater Group of Walla Walla, and they're going to breathe new life into the amphitheater at Fort Walla Walla. So one of the things I might want to ask you is, how long will it take you to be able to get this space open and running?
Well, that all depends on when we can get the funding. We need to reach a certain financial threshold and able to move forward with implementing the work. And, we're hopeful that possibly in a very limited way by the end of the summer, we can let some folks in there. If we can get some of the safety issues addressed, it will definitely be without lights, sound, power, possibly even plumbing, but maybe as a ability to tour or host some limited small scale gathering of some kind out there, maybe, if we can gather together the funds to make that happen. Hopefully 2024 in another sort of limited scope, and hopefully we'll be back to productions in 2025 at the latest. There's just a lot of work to be done, and it depends on the speed of fundraising.
Okay. And we'll be back with Tyson Kaup in just a minute here on Walla Walla Live. And we're here to talk about the revitalization of the amphitheater over at Fort Walla Walla. Good morning. You're with Walla Walla Live. This is Rick Scott, and we have a guest in the studio. Tyson Kaup is president of the Summer Theater Group of Walla Walla, and they are going to give a shot in the arm to the amphitheater over at Fort Walla Walla and make that a working performing space. One of the questions I had about this kind of operation is that you've got seating, seats, physical seats outside in every kind of weather. So in the summer, the sun beats on it, and then it gets cold in the winter with snow and ice and everything. So that's going to be a bit of an ongoing expense, isn't it, to try to get seating, in there that's redone, and then it's just going to go bad because the weather always kills it.
Yes, that's true. I remember being out there before we did productions in the past and seeing them strip the paint and repaint the benches every year. Up until now, the seating has been these sort of like 2x8 or 2x10. I'm not quite sure what size they are, benches, and they're quite horribly ergonomically designed. They're really not comfortable to sit in for long periods of time, but we're hoping to, in the short term, redesign the bench concept and replace the wood, and that in and of itself won't be that big of a project. We're hoping over time we can put some actual legitimate outdoor theater seats in those places, because we know that there are a few historical gripes people have had, and we understand that's one of them, and we're going to address it.
Yeah, and also it's wicked expensive to buy seating. I mean, it's just astronomical how much it costs. Yes,
I've been in contact with some seating, suppliers, and there are secondhand seats you can get from stadiums or. There's a range of products that you can buy for outdoor theaters like this, and that'll just be, one of the costs of reopening the space.
I was wondering, will other groups besides your own be able to use or rent the space?
Absolutely, and we've already started having a lot of these conversations. We're just so interested in boosting people's involvement in the performing arts in general. We've already began sponsoring other events. We sponsored the Nutcracker. We're sponsoring the Dance Center, the Dance Company of Walla Walla's spring winter show coming up on February 4th. I've had conversations with Rob Harrison, who's the new director of the Walla Walla Choral Society. We're going to be speaking with the Symphony. We've had some of those conversations, but we really need the entire village to come on board with this. And I think it'll be just a project that benefits all of the artistic groups in Walla Walla, and will be able to be rented for other events like, weddings or corporate events, things of that nature.
I think a really important piece of doing a theater is the educational piece. Like, what can you do for educational programming?
Well, I've already been really impressed living here with children of my own with the Parks and Rec programs and what they've been able to do in terms of subsidizing education for kids. So we hope to partner with them in some way. We also hope to offer. I'm a big fan of learning on the job of these kind of things. We hope to do children's productions. Even shortly here, we just brought on Kaylin Pike, who is a really vibrant theater maker in the community. She's decided she would join us in not only being our DEI consultant, but she's also going to take on a very related role, which is our director of youth programming. And she's going to help us come up with some really creative ways to reach children in early ages, get them on stage, and give them the experience of being part of a production.
And I wonder if we included all the other people on your board that we need to talk about here. Do we need? I think we might have skipped over a few of these people.
Sure. Well, we talked about Jonathan, our lead architect. He's the vice president. My wife, Jacqueline, who's a partner at a law firm based in San Francisco, is helpful as our attorney. We've also had contact with a few other local attorneys in terms of property issues we've dealt with negotiating the contract with the city. Jim Wilson, who is also a well-known personality in the community. He was the announcer for the Suites this last year and might be again this next year, I think. He's our development lead. Tom Macaroni, people will know from his restaurant. He's a board advisor. Kate Lyon is our institutional funding lead. Jennifer Mallow just came on as our private funding lead. I talked about Kaylin Pike. And we just have another advisory board of really national theater and business people that have decided to donate their time to this project. People I've met through my travels as a performer. But it's a really hip, fun, and vibrant organization, and we hope to keep it running that way.
And what kind of interest have you gotten from design people in the theater community, like the set designers, the costume designers, and so forth? What kind of conversations have you had with those folks?
Yes. So Rebecca Makis is a lighting designer that grew up here in Walla Walla. Her and I had a chance to sit down and have a deep conversation. She's worked professionally in theaters across the country and chaired a department of theater for a while. She's no longer in that position, but we had a deep conversation about lighting design. The Hatleys, Brian and Becky Hatley, have been involved in theater out there before, so they're a good resource as well. People, I cannot wait to start having more of those conversations. A lot of people say, when can I come and audition? It's like, well, unless you're a plumber or a roofer, those are the kind of people we really need right now. But I'm really trying to look to the future of having those conversations.
Well, how can people help you out? I mean, what can people right now do to help you get this going? Yeah,
I mean, I was having this conversation with a couple of theater makers in town yesterday, actually, and I use the phrase which I always use when I'm directing a show. I say to the actors, I implore them, please share the responsibility of the show with me, and I ask the community the same thing, please, we almost lost so much, or did lose so much during the past few years. Please share the responsibility of a robust arts community with us. If people out there can afford to support on a larger scale, we're not asking for the $5, $10 donations right now, but we ask you, if you can support on a larger scale, to please come forward, raise your hand, and be a part of something like a local performing arts legacy. If you have time and elbow grease, we'll take those coming up this summer too. You can visit our website, wallawallatheater.org, to sign up or get in contact with us, even vote on shows you'd like to see out there. It's not every day you get a chance to literally raise a theater from the ashes. So, we want you to raise your hand, get involved, make this new, hip, fun, vibrant organization what we all want it to be. This is your chance to make your voice heard and be a part of something incredible.
Any chance to do one of those memorial fundraising things, like buying a brick with your name engraved on it? You going to do any of that? That
will certainly be something that we pursue. There are so many things that could be purchased for support.
Sure.
That will certainly be on our list of fundraising.
Okay, we've been talking with Tyson Kaup. He's director of the Summer Theater Group of Walla Walla. He's telling us all about revamping the Amphitheater at Fort Walla Walla. We're going away for a bit. We'll be back.
News and weather every hour. This is KUJ, Walla Walla.